friends and strangers, welcome to my cross-stitch video diary, also known as Flosstube. I'm Cassidy, and this channel is called The Cassidy Audacity. I also go by that on other social media platforms. Today we have a WIP parade. I'm kind of late to the parade. I filmed a WIP parade a few weeks ago. I just didn't film the intro, so I'm doing that now, and in true Cassidy fashion, I'm just running late. So a lot of the times for the WIP parade, you kind of like reintroduce yourself, which is my least favorite part, which is why I've been putting it off. When I filmed the WIP parade, which you'll see, I kind of switched things up because I had an arm injury and I couldn't really raise my arm above shoulder height to like display things. So I did it from like a top down situation, and I actually kind of liked that because whenever I was editing, I wasn't just looking at my face the whole time. So I might continue with doing that. But anyway, I jumped ahead. Let's get back to the talking about myself that I don't really like to do. Why do I have a YouTube channel? I don't know. Anyway, my name is Cassidy. I'm 32 years old. I am married to my best friend. We've been together for 11 years and married for 6. His name's DJ. He doesn't want me to say it online, but it's okay. We have 3 dogs, Guts, Winks, and Trine, and I'm sure I'll be posting pictures up there. We have basically started a cult because each of them have one blue eye and one brown eye, and they're not related to each other. So it's kind of just a thing at this point. It'll be weird if we ever get a dog that doesn't have one blue eye and one brown eye. We are child-free by choice, and for work, I deliver mail. Up until this summer, I was part-time, and I changed to full-time, like working 6 days a week. So my free time has really dropped down, which means free time for stitching and just free time for everything else in my life. So it's been a little bit stressful and a bit of a change in routine, but I definitely have like no time here at my house by myself. So filming with someone else here is a little weird, even though, you know, I love him and we've been together for forever. But I'm doing it, so here I am. Usually I film in my library in front of the nice put together books, but now that I'm not here without my husband, I don't want to take over a communal space. So I'm here in the chaos of my craft room, which is my shirt, Chaos Coffee Cross Stitch. I like to wear a cross stitch shirt in every video, so this is the one for today because my life is chaotic. Anyway, in my free time, obviously I cross stitch and other things, but specifically for cross stitching, I have been cross stitching for years, kind of just like the normal my grandma taught me whenever I was younger, and I've picked it up here and there throughout the years. I remember in like 2014, 2015, I kind of took like an 8-bit Mario and made my own little pattern and stitched that, and I usually fell off with it because I didn't find patterns that I really liked. And so after the pandemic, probably like 2022, I was seeing more patterns, like modern weird patterns that I liked, and so I've been pretty much consistently stitching since then, or at least making more of it a priority. Making it more of a priority. Another thing I like to do in my free time is I help run a local art center here. It's a gallery with a classroom in the back where we have activities and some classes, like pottery classes and stuff, and I am the volunteer coordinator there. So that takes up a lot of my free time as well. And then just like trash TV and reading and hanging out with my dogs. And so a lot of my interests are reflected in my stitching. I don't stitch like samplers or primitive things like that. I stitch modern, weird oddities, curiosities, skulls, so things like that. And I do not really track things like Notion and the pattern keeper, stuff like that. I'm just winging it over here, so I won't be able to say like I'm 27.5% through. So if you're looking for that, I do apologize. And hopefully you find value in some of the stuff that I stitch. I like watching Flosstube of things that I wouldn't stitch, so I hope that other people feel the same about what I'm stitching. But yeah, that was chaotic and all over the place, and don't want to be talking about myself anymore. I didn't really like prepare notes. I just needed to like hurry up and get this done and out and uploaded, at least before July, because a lot of people do their mid-year WIP parades in July, and it's like really close to the end. If you don't know what a WIP parade is, a WIP is a work in progress, so all the things that you have started but haven't finished, and it's like a show and tell. So I'm gonna hand it over to past Cassidy, and I always feel weird about ending my videos, and I have no idea how I ended that one. So if I just ended abruptly, thanks for watching. Bye. No, don't leave, but like hopefully like remember this for the end. Okay, bye. Not bye. Hello everyone, here is my injured arm WIP parade. We're gonna try this setup out, and hopefully it's a little easier on my injured arm. Here's my ugly fingers. Don't look at them too much. We're gonna do oldest WIP to newest WIP, and my oldest WIP is from October of 2022. It's from this book called Creepy Cross Stitch. Welcoming Committee. And there's mine. This is a 14 count black Aida with 2 strands. Back then I really only knew about 14 count. If I tried to stitch on 14 count now, I would just get angry, which is probably why I haven't finished this, but I'm really close, so hopefully I'll get back to it. But I like it, it's cute. My next WIP is from January 22nd of 2024, so I no longer have 2023 WIPs. This is Van Gogh Sunflowers. I found this on Etsy by a shop called The Stitch Patterns. I started this for my best friend's birthday, which is in the end of January, and I of course didn't get it done, and then I was like, oh, I'll get it done by Mother's Day. I didn't get it done, and here we are months and months and months later. I'll put a picture of what, if I haven't already, of what it's supposed to look like, but there's a coffee cup here with the sunflowers coming out of it, and that's her favorite painting in her house. She has a whole wall of sunflowers, so that was why I wanted to do this, and I'll get it done one day. I think that's the theme for all of us, right? Is we'll just get it done one day. My next WIP is Femurs Fungi by Fine Frog Stitching. I'll add a picture of the finished pattern. And this is how far I am. This was a sal from 2024. I started this on April 5th. And I probably kept up with it for like, well, I guess not really, because I didn't do all the frames, but I have worked on it this year because I did this down here. It's a pitiful start along for me, but I think I've just learned that I'm not a Sal type of person. I'm more of a stash along. Like, I'll buy it and then maybe I'll do it sometime in the future. This is the called for. It's a 16 count hand-dyed Aida by Witch's Garden Crafts called Eclipse, and I'm using 2 strands. Steph at Fine Frog Stitching has come out with more salves since then, of course, and some of them are with this frame style. She's coming out with a new one, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's like tea something. My stomach just rumbled, so if you end up hearing that, I do apologize. My next WIP, I'll put a picture on the screen what it's supposed to look like. This is Neon Cicada by BadStitch. This is a 16 hand-dyed Aida by Oblong Meow, just called P.I.N.K, and I'm using 2 strands. I hope that this turns out. I'm kind of worried about this moon up here because of the pink, and you know, the colors might not stand out, but we'll see. I'm actually in her Discord, and back when I started this, I don't even think I said when I started this. I started it May 15th in 2024, and I'm in her Discord, and I was kind of musing, like, I don't know if this will work out with the moon, the pink moon, and she said that she would rechart it if it ended up not working out. She would rechart it for me in some different colors, and obviously that was such a long time ago, but I might have to take her up on it in the future. But I also thought of just doing it myself, like pulling some of the other colors from the pattern to do the moon instead of the pinks, so I might be able to just do it by myself. Anything else I wanted to say? I don't think so. Oh, yeah. I think there's currently a sal for this. I've seen a few people buy and stitch the pattern because it was a Patreon exclusive last year, but she has since released it, and so some people were doing a sal. And of course I didn't stick with that sal either, but you know. My next WIP is the Haunted House Sal by Stitch Sprout. This was from Patreon from July of last year. Well, I don't know if it's actually, no, I think I started it when it first came out. Started July 5th. This is another Witch's Garden Crafts 16 count called Unicorn. Another sal that I did not keep up with. This one was like a month-long sal. My next WIP is Unhinged by Stitch Tits. This is a picture of what it's supposed to look like, and here's how far I've gotten. This is a 16 count hand-dyed Aida by Dying for Sass. They had a really cool idea where they, on their Patreon, they let their patrons choose a pattern, and they would hand dye fabric just for that pattern. And I, of course, have never stuck with that, but they don't have that on their Patreon anymore. But I think this was originally dyed for a Stitch Sprout pattern. I started this in July of 2024. Ali Z is Crafty here on Flosstube started a sal for this with Misfit Stitches. I don't know if they're on Flosstube but for sure on Instagram. And the hashtag was Unhinged Stitchers Club. And I, of course, never finished it. But I don't think Ali finished theirs either. As of like a few months ago, but I'm not for sure if they have or not. So maybe I'm not the only one. My next WIP is Mini Haunted Garden by Buena Pieza. This is what it's supposed to look like. and a little bit of dog hair on it. And this is how far I've gotten. This is a 16 count black Aida with 2 strands. I started this August 26, 2024. I actually started this for a themed art exhibition. I can't remember now what the theme was. I guess maybe nature or spooky or something like that. And I, of course, time management, didn't get it done in time. And I haven't really been inspired to work on it since. I kind of thought about UFOing it, but I'm like pretty close, so maybe maybe the bug will come back and I'll finish it. I also don't really like stitching on black anymore, so, which is kind of sad, but sometimes it's necessary. My next WIP is a small called Housework Stinks. This is from a vintage booklet that I got from a lot from my library. I have some connections at my local library, so anytime anything cross stitch related is donated, they often ask me if I want it, and I'm like, yeah. So I, of course, didn't bring the booklet over here, but I'll pop a picture of what it's supposed to look like if I haven't already. And I thought it would just be fun to do it on this crazy hand-dyed Aida. It's called maybe ectoplasm. On my notes I have question mark ectoplasm. But this is by Oblong Meow, and I'm using 2 strands. Oh, and I started this October 16th of last year. My next WIP is the Briar from Sprouting Lupine. This is what it looks like finished, and this is how far I've gotten. This is an 18 count Rustico Aida, and I'm using 1 strand. I started this January 31st of this year. It was for another themed art exhibition, and the theme was fantasy. And I, of course, did not finish it. But with the castle up there and just the whole overall book theme, I felt like it would fit in really well with the theme. My next WIP is also by Sprouting Lupine, called Butterfly Bouquet. This is what it's supposed to look like, and here's mine. Sorry for the hanging threads again. This is using 1 strand on 20 count hand-dyed Aida. My first time using 20 count, and also my first time using fiber on a whim. And it was called Brown Sugar. And I started this on January 31st. And I'm loving the 20 count, actually. And I love only using 1 strand. I think it's kind of the thrifty side of, not thrifty, but I can't think of the word, like pinching pennies, like, because you're only using 1 strand, so your skein of DMC goes a little farther. And plus, this was such a huge pattern to me that I wanted it to have a smaller footprint on the wall. So I really like how this is turning out. I was a little worried. I tried really hard to place it right here, where there was a lighter part in the modeling. So we'll see if that works out or not. My next WIP is from this book, Magical Cross Stitch, by the same person as the creepy cross stitch book. And this is what it's supposed to look like. It's called Wheel of the Year. And this is how far I am. I lost this one and found it right before filming, so it's not ironed or anything. I'm actually doing a sal for this. Someone who has already said that they really suck at sals. But I just thought it would be, whenever I was figuring out how quickly I wanted to do it, I just thought, how about I just do each section either on the day of the celebration or just within the next time for the celebration. And I've pretty much kept up with it. So I made a hashtag, I think it's Wheel of the Year Sal. And honestly, anyone can jump in anytime. Like if you're just not finding out about it, you can start, you know, further along the wheel and then finish, you know, later, obviously, than what I'm gonna finish. But and they're so tiny. They're so tiny. So I feel like it's an easy sal to keep up with. But yeah, so far I'm keeping up with my own sal, which is good. My next WIP is called The Plant Witch by Quaternion Creations. Oh man, I forgot the book. I'll just have to put a picture of what it's supposed to look like. And then this is mine. This is a, I think 18 count hand-dyed Aida. This was gifted to me in a gift swap that was hosted on the BadStitch Discord. So I don't know, I didn't keep the paperwork on what LNS my giftee had bought it from, but the pattern book for Emerging Queendom, I think you can buy it online, but I also think that there are PDFs now for all you PDF stitchers like me. But I also just needed to have the book as a little trophy on my shelf. I started this February 16th of this year, and I've made some color changes for like the hair and the skin, I think. I don't think the skin was originally a different color, but I kind of wanted to base this off my best friend who is a plant witch. So hopefully it kind of, with the hair color and stuff, resembles her when I'm done. And then I can give that to her, but you know, I haven't gifted her the Van Gogh sunflowers, so. My next WIP is from the Night Garden palette collab. I also didn't bring the pattern over here. Oh well, I'll just be inserting a lot of pictures. This is my first time starting or working on linen, and this is called Stargazing by Bendy Stitchy. Here's what mine looks like. Actually, it was my second time. I forgot about the Vintage Crafts, not Vintage Values one that I did on linen. This is a 32 count Belfast linen in the color Stormy Night. I'm making a couple changes because I didn't really like the Smyrna crosses, so hopefully it turns out okay. But these were patterns using the same, what am I thinking of? Pack of threads from Threadworks, and so they're slightly variegated, which leaves a kind of cool effect. And they're not bad to work with. So I'm not fully a linen person now. I feel like a lot of people start out on Aida and then they try linen and they're like, I'm never going back. But I do see the appeal of linen because it looks really nice. My next WIP is homage to Sleep Token by Noctiflora Designs. This is how far I've gotten. This is a 16 count Aida from Witch's Garden Crafts called Nebula, and I started this on April 12th, and this one's actually a freebie from them, so I think you can go to their website. And this was their interpretation of the new album that came out, some of the artwork. So I was going to try and finish it for a floral themed art exhibition, but guess what? I didn't finish it. My next WIP is called I Would Choose the Bear by Plastic Little Covers. This is also a freebie. I was brave and did a conversion for Cosmo. I don't use a lot of like the fancy flosses besides getting that Threadworks collab, but Cosmo is just chef's kiss to work with. So I decided to try and do a conversion of the original pastel colors just to kind of make it a little bit more bold. I started this for another Sal. Hashtag Fat Bear Weekly Sal, hosted by Thick Threads, who is here on Flosstube. And I started this on April 25th. It was really just an excuse to start a bear pattern. You'll have to check their Flosstube and Instagram for all the details. My next WIP is, oh, I'm gonna butcher this, Nolite Bastarde Carborundurum, and this one is by Una Buena Pieza, and this was on a scrap of that unicorn by Witch's Garden Crafts. I started this on May 10th, and this is from a zine, a magazine. I can never tell which one. Is it zine or zine? Either way. This was a fundraiser for literacy, put together under the Spellbound Stitches umbrella. So a bunch of pattern designers, I think the Spellbound Stitches is started by Amanda from BadStitch, but this one was a bunch of different bookmark patterns. So my idea is to have a book of bookmarks, kind of like the junk journal that Michelle from Bendy Stitchy does here on Flosstube, but it's gonna be all bookmark patterns. So we'll see if I actually stick to that, but I would like to always have a bookmark pattern going. And this is from a show called, hopefully you know, The Handmaid's Tale, and the series has finished and I am unwell, and that's all I can say. My last WIP is from this book. I don't think it's really a book, whatever it's called. This was on the freebie table at the Witchy Stitcher retreat, and I just could not believe that I found a pattern with a manatee on it. I love manatees, they're my favorite animal. So let's see if I can get it closer. Oh, that's real weird with my ring light. So I figured I would just do the manatee, and my friend who I've gotten into cross stitch, her name's Nadine. She had this hand-dyed fabric from, I think this is also Witch's Garden Crafts, and I think it's called Mermaids or something like that. So I started this at that retreat on June 7th, and I found this recently, so this isn't ironed either. Just to kind of commemorate finding that pattern at the retreat. If you want to know a little bit about my experience, I did make an Instagram post. I thought about making a whole video. I just never got around to it. So, and now I don't think I'd be able to do it justice. So, that was my last WIP, but actually my very, very last WIP is for another gift swap in the BadStitch Discord, and I can't show you. So I will definitely be taking a picture of it, when maybe even a video clip, I don't know, whenever I'm done and have it in a future floss tube. There's a deadline for it. I have to have it sent to get to my giftee by October 1st, and nope, August 1st, and my arm hurts. So I've been stitching with my non-dominant hand, and it is very, very slow going, but I'm determined to get it done by the deadline. My cross stitch video diary, also known as Flosstube. Welcome to my cross stitch. In this economy, like, I actually filmed. Did I already say that?